Long ago, about 3 billion years ago, we were tiny atoms floating in a world-sized petri dish. Fast forward to around 6 million years ago, we witnessed the emergence of the first hominids, including humans, in the primate family. Then, 1.9 million years ago, Homo erectus became the first species to leave Africa and colonize other parts of the world, with brains more developed than their primate ancestors. Our story begins in the fertile land of Mesopotamia around 4000 BCE, situated between the Great Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in the Sumerian city-state of Uruk. Unlike our ancestors who relied on hunting and gathering, the citizens of Uruk developed a method to harvest cereals like wheat and barley. However, converting grains into edible food required significant effort. In the initial stages, they used an invention called the quern, made up of 2 stones. This complex and laborious process was the first example of agriculture in our modern world. It led to Uruk thriving with over 50,000 residents. However, this change had an impact on the human body. The average height of men sharply decreased from 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 3 inches, and women's average height decreased from 5 feet 3 inches to 5 feet. People also became attached to the land, altering the essence of human nature. In the early 3rd millennium BCE, Sumerian king Gilgamesh ruled the region, featuring in the Epic of Gilgamesh, seeking immortality. He encountered a sage named Utnapishtim, who told of a world-destroying flood. At the poem's end, Gilgamesh says, "The life you seek, you will never find, for when God created humans, he allotted death to them and kept life in his own hands." However, by the end of 3rd millennium BCE, the Akkadians ousted the Sumerians, and the Great Sargon seized power, conquering all of Sumer. Meanwhile, in the Indus Valley in present-day Pakistan, a new civilization was emerging, known as the Indus Valley Civilization, 3300 BCE to 1300 BCE, renowned for its highly advanced toilet system. Toilets had seats and a slide leading to an underground drainage system, preventing disease spread. Waste was treated and processed outside the city limits, contributing to maintaining urban cleanliness and hygiene. However, in Egypt, their focus was on building pyramids rather than basic human plumbing. This was because, in ancient Egyptian religion, they believed that when pharaohs died in the material world, their souls continued living in the afterlife. Inside these pyramids, the pharaoh's body was carefully crafted into a mummy, believed to preserve their physical form and assist their soul's journey to the afterlife. The pyramids were also filled with offerings and treasures meant to provide support for the pharaoh's needs in the afterlife. Every pharaoh wanted to ensure their immortality, success in the afterlife, and everlasting worship. This began with Pharaoh Djoser, 2667 BCE to 2648 BCE, who built the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, followed by Sneferu, 2613 BCE to 2589 BCE, who constructed several pyramids like the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid. Then came Pharaoh Khufu, 2589 BCE to 2566 BCE, who, in a labor-intensive 20-year process, built the famous Great Pyramid of Giza, a marvel that still astonishes the world today. Khafre and Menkaure followed, constructing the 2nd and 3rd pyramids of Giza, slightly smaller in scale. Simultaneously, in 2100 BCE, the first Chinese dynasty emerged. Like the Mesopotamians, the Chinese relied on agriculture, producing crops like rice, wheat, and barley. Legend spoke of the Yellow River flooding, destroying all crops, leading to widespread famine and suffering. But not all was lost, as Yu the Great was on his way. Yu felt deeply saddened by this issue, tirelessly working along the Yellow River. He found a way to regulate the water by building dams and dikes. After 13 years of effort, floods could no longer wreak havoc on the land. People rejoiced, and Yu was hailed as a savior, marking the beginning of the first Chinese dynasty, the Xia dynasty. Long, long ago, around 1772 BC, in Mesopotamia, there was a king named Hammurabi. He did something extraordinary by creating a magical giant stone inscribed with 282 laws. The stone was 7 feet high and 2 feet wide, containing laws that instructed everyone in the kingdom on how to behave. Some laws were strange. The king established a legal society, dividing people into different groups, each with varying values in society, a concept that persisted throughout history. In ancient Babylon, The aristocrats' value was higher than the commoners, and the commoners' value exceeded that of slaves. The dream of equality did not exist at that time. In modern Turkey, there is a little-known civilization, the Hittite Empire, ruled by the leader Labarnus. Between 1680 BC and 1650 BC, Labarnus, a visionary leader, aimed to unify the Hittite city-states into one nation. He led armies to conquer neighboring city-states and cleverly formed alliances with their leaders. Eventually, Labarnus became the ruler of all Hittite city-states, establishing an empire. He was a just and beloved ruler. Under his leadership, the Hittites prospered, and their territory expanded, maintaining close relations with neighboring countries, including Egypt. In modern Greece, a series of city-states arose on the European continent. Between 1600 and 1100 BC, Mycenaean Greece was dominated by an elite warrior society, forming a palace-centered network of states. This system included strict hierarchies in politics, society, and economics. At the top of society was the king. However, unlike unified civilizations, each city was an independent state. City-states like Troy, Mycenae, and Pylos grew gradually. During this period, Greece's written language, Linear B, emerged, marking the first recorded Indo-European language. In Egypt, they began constructing another type of social pyramid, akin to the Great Pyramid of Giza, with a broader base and a narrower top. The base comprised farmers and slaves responsible for all physical labor, cultivating land, and producing food for Egypt. Next were artisans, masons, painters, and sculptors who crafted luxurious artworks sought after by the wealthy and are among Egypt's most renowned features today. Then came merchants, sailing the Nile day and night, trading gold, papyrus, and linen with anyone who could pay, earning respect and substantial profits through sales. Scribes followed, mastering the language of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs through specialized writing schools. In practice, they recorded food stocks, various tax documents, and even the pharaoh's daily life. Soldiers defended the Egyptian empire, dedicating their lives to its protection or launching preemptive strikes against enemies. Finally, bureaucrats, high-ranking government officials at the pinnacle of society, executed crucial tasks such as overseeing logistics for running the civilization, managing temples to ensure deities received proper care, and supervising specific regions of the empire to maintain order. At the apex of society, everyone's goal was the pharaoh, the king, the mediator between gods and humanity. The pharaoh was considered supreme, and all had to submit to him. Ramses II achieved many extraordinary feats living within this societal framework. He orchestrated the construction of the temples of Abu Simbel, Ramesseum, and Karnak. He also successfully expanded the Egyptian empire and reclaimed lands lost by previous pharaohs, except those claimed by the Hittite Empire. In the same period, the king of the Hittite Empire, Muwatalli II, became infamous for ordering attacks on neighboring Egypt. Following Labarnus's example, Muwatalli aimed to unify the entire world under Hittite rule. However, Ramesses II realized that past pharaohs had attempted to deter the Hittites but knew that for his empire to succeed, he needed to strike back. His target was the city of Kadesh, where Ramesses II led a chariot-driven army of 40,000 to conquer and kill Muwatalli. However, the Hittites, through spies, learned of the impending Egyptian invasion and fortified the city with their own 40,000 troops. War loomed, and Ramesses II decided to divide his army to flush out the Hittites. Yet, Muwatalli did not make the fatal mistake of dividing his forces, leaving Ramesses exposed and unable to gain an advantage, giving Muwatalli and the people of Kadesh the opportunity to claim victory. Historians speculate that they only emerged from the defensive works of Kadesh, trapping Ramesses II's army, but for some unknown reason, they never did, leading to a stalemate in the Battle of Kadesh. After the war, both sides agreed at best to cease hostilities and live in peace and unity. Upon Muwatalli's death, the new king Hattusili III ascended the Hittite throne in 1258 BC, and Ramesses and Hattusili signed the first ever peace treaty, stipulating that the Egyptian king Ramesses, the king of Egypt, shall never attack the Hittite country or occupy any part of it, and Hattusili, the great king of the Hutti country, shall also never attack the Egyptian country or occupy any part of it. Subsequently, a period of friendship ensued between the two formerly warring nations.